And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Welcome to our summary for the first day's play of the third Ashes Test from Headingley. I'm very pleased to have back with us Andy Ward, who's volunteered to be my sacrificial lamb today.
Hello.
Welcome, Andy.
Hello, everyone.
So first up, I'll just give you a very brief summary of the scorecard. England won the toss and decided to put Australia into bat. The changes for England were that they left out Anderson. Of course, Pope was out injured, and they also omitted Tongue from the previous test, and in came Mark Wood, Moeen Ali, and who was the final one that came back? Wokes, of course. Yes.
Yep.
Australia, on the other hand, obviously lost Nathan Lyon. Todd Murphy came in to replace him. Scott Boland came in place of Hazelwood, and Cameron Green has apparently a minor hamstring strain, and Mitchell Marsh replaced him in the team. So Australia batted. It was overcast, pitched with a good deal of pace and bounce, a bit of cut, I think. And the morning session was very much England's. By lunchtime, Australia were 91 for 4 after some excellent fast bowling, particularly from Wood. Warner was up for 4, Khawaja 13, Labuschagne 21, Smith 22, and Travis Head and Mitchell Marsh had just come to the crease, and Australia looked extraordinarily shaky. Between lunch and tea saw, quite frankly, one of the more extraordinary test innings, particularly in the circumstances. Mitchell Marsh moved from, I think, 6 not out at lunch to be out for 118. The last ball that was played before tea. 118 from 118 balls with 17 fours and 4 sixes. A superb knock. Travis Head just played a supporting role throughout that period. And that was the start. At that stage, Australia then went for tea at 240 for 5. Within about half an hour, they were all out for 263. Wood just cut through the tail. Head was up for 39. Carey for 8, Stark for 2, Cummings for no score, and Murphy for 13. And Wood ended up with figures of 5 for 34 from 11.5 overs. Broad had 2 wickets. Wokes bowled beautifully, had 3 for 73. So England went into bat. Duckett fell to Cummins. Brooke also fell to Cummings. They were 22 for 2. Crawley and Root put on another 43 for the third wicket before Crawley was out nicking off to Marsh. They had a good day for 33. And England finished the day at 68 for 3 off 19 overs. So they're just under 200 runs behind heading into the second day. Fairly evenly balanced game. Andy, your thoughts about the day?
Well, I started off this morning, and I think that just the start of the game really set the tone for England in that session. Coming so quickly after the Lord's Test and having such a gut-wrenching defeat in that one, going 2 down in the series, England could have been feeling a bit fragile going into this game. And if Australia had had a good first hour, the wheels could have come off. Warner hit the first ball for 4. Lovely shot, straight drive. I think, oh, here we go. But Broad gets him in the first over. And that, I think, sets such a tone for England. It got Labuschagne out like straight away. Australia on the back foot. Broad and Robinson opened up, and then Wood came on. Immediately started bowling 95 miles an hour. No one's seen anything like it in the whole series. Not from Australia, and definitely not from England. He's ripped one through Khawaja, little bit of swing, but basically just beat him for pace.
Yep.
Which obviously we haven't seen anything like in the whole series. And then England managed to get rid of Labuschagne and Smith as well. That's one for Wokes and one for Broad. And 94, and England had completely dominated the first session on what certainly there's something in it. There's a great pitch. There's something in it for the bowlers, but there's something in it for the batters as well. The outfield's very quick. England going 90 for 4 with Head and Marsh, who hasn't played a test match since God knows when, feeling on top of the world.
The last test match he played was actually the Oval Test 4 years ago.
Yes, he seems to only play against England and only produce against England because, spoiler, he got his 3rd test century, all 3 against England. He scored 108 runs in a session at a run a ball. I didn't see the first half hour. I must be honest, I haven't quite seen all of it today. By the time I turned back on, he was totally set. England couldn't bowl short to him because he was just smashing it into the stands. And he was completely imperious. And England maybe were a little bit too attacking for too long. They had 4 slips in for a long time. And he was just putting his bat through the line outside off stump, picking up 4 every time. Turned the game on its head, 240 for 4. We're looking at each other. We're just coming up to tea, and Australia look on top, and we're thinking, God, another hour of this, and England are going to be in serious trouble. And then England had an absolute break, a real stroke of luck. Now, Chris Wokes did find the inside edge and not the middle of Mitch Marsh's bat, so he gets some credit for that. But it ballooned off his thigh pad out to gully, where Zach Crawley just took the simplest catch. And they tripped off the tee, and suddenly it was a different game. Again, like the morning session, Wood didn't come on straight away. England had a bit of a dip at Head and Carey. And finally, I got one right. I said, I wonder if they're going to actually throw the ball to Mark Wood here and finish this innings off. And by God, did he do that. Australia lost their last 6 wickets for 23 runs. He just ran. I mean, look, Stark and Cummins are capable batsmen. They're a good number 8, number 9. Stark, just went straight through and bowled him. And Cummins, as I said on comms, just hadn't faced anything 10 miles an hour less than this.
Yep.
And he was so late on the shot, he barely got his bat down. And at first, I thought the ball was missing leg stump just because it looked so weird. But actually, his bat was still halfway down. The ball thudded into his pad, bang in front of middle.
Yep.
Murphy played a couple of shots, but didn't last long. Suddenly, Australia are all out for 260 out of nowhere. And that is the value of having a quick bowler. That's the difference. And I know you can't play a 95 mile an hour bowler every test. Even England have worked this out by now. They would be desperate to get Wood out for one more test. Probably makes sense for him to play the last one. He's made such a difference today. You can't expect him to do it every time. But he's made a tremendous difference. And also, he's only bowled 11 overs.
Yeah.
So, he's not going to need an ice bath. He was, in fact, Wokes, who did the brunt of the bowling, he bowled 17 and also bowled well on his comeback. He got 2 key wickets of Head and Marsh. He had a couple of catches dropped. England's catching again wasn't great today. In fact, they had dropped Marsh on 12. Ooh, they could have been right through Australia. I mean, you don't know what would have happened, slow bills and so on. But anyway, England generally would be very happy for 260. Then they had to come out and bat now. Duckett played at one he shouldn't have, but hashtag that's how he plays. He was caught behind. And Brooke, I'm not sure about Brooke at 3. He didn't look comfortable.
No.
Cummins has bowled him quite a similar, not dissimilar ball to the one that got him out at Lord's. Not as good a ball as it was outside off stump rather than clipping the top off, but he edged that through to Smith. England were at that point 20 odd for 2.
22
Crawley
for
2. Crawley settled it down. Unfortunately, Crawley couldn't make his start pay. As Marsh came on again, what a day he's had. Got Crawley out for 30 and Root and Bairstow basically just saw it through to the end of the day. It was another fascinating day's cricket this morning when I knew I was going to be on today, obviously. I saw Australia batting. I thought, ugh, I much prefer watching England bat. But little did I know, And I don't know what odds you get on this today. Australia batted at a higher run rate than England today.
Yeah, it's
I know it's
amazing, isn't it?
different. It's slightly different that England were playing out the last 6 overs, but nonetheless, a great day's cricket, and it's perfectly set up for tomorrow. I mean, I said to Hendo, every hour is going to be a crucial hour. This is going to be a test match where 30 wickets will fall and a target will be set, and either you'll get them or you'll get bowled out.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
And I think that did play into England's decision to bowl first, which I think was less about the first innings and more about the fourth innings they wanted to chase.
That makes sense. A couple of things I should have mentioned. Ollie Robinson left the field halfway through his 12th over with, I think it's a side strain, is it?
Possibly, but again, Australia just didn't keep England out there long enough to make that make a difference.
No,
in much the same as when
not.
Nathan Lyon went off in the previous test.
Joe Root did drop a very simple catch at slip from, I think it was off Wokes for Marsh. When he was only 12, which he was furious about. He dropped another catch.
He dropped a very hard catch and then actually caught, who was it, Head? I think it was Head. Yes, he caught Head the next ball.
Yeah.
Hurled the ball into the ground.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is he dropped Carey, they took a single.
Yes.
And then he caught Head the next ball, which was kind of funny. He was incredibly relieved. He was really cross with himself having dropped it previously.
Some suggestion on Twitter that Carey was actually hitting the head while the ball hit him, or maybe it hit his shoulder and then going onto his head.
I didn't notice that.
Maybe he shouldn't have been batting after that. He didn't quite look himself. He played an ugly shot to get out. But I don't think any partisan Englishman cared very much.
Head
but
was
also
Bairstow dropped Head when he was...
Bairstow dropped 2. Bairstow dropped one down the leg side off the face of the bat. And there was definitely another one.
There was a dive to the left, which was considerably harder, but
there was one which was a lot harder, yes. We should have taken one off Head. It's almost what you're expecting, at least. That missed opportunity from Bairstow in an innings.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Well, but you can always think, if only, if everything goes your way, that's when you bowl a team out for 65. It only happens. Well, this happens on once each, actually. Once each in a generation.
Well,
it's going to be an exciting day tomorrow.
Oh, it is.
England still have, obviously, Stokes, who proved... We were sitting here doing this end of play, roundup after day 4. In the last test, we both said we thought Stokes was unfit, shouldn't be playing. And we both said, but he might prove us wrong tomorrow.
He certainly did. He certainly did. You just never know. It's interesting that the 3 players who really starred today, Wood, Marsh, and Wokes, have none of them played a test previously in this series. And to a certain extent, that also is the pitch that's helped contribute to such an exciting day, because it really is nice to see a pitch that's got something in it.
It is, and I think the guys were saying on the podcast, well, they were exciting games, so you can't complain. They were exciting games in spite of the pitches, not because of them.
I agree entirely.
The first one in particular was only an exciting game because England went for it. Any other 2 teams in Test cricket, and that would have just petered out into nothing.
I think that's certainly true. Yeah, I think trying to suggest that it's exciting because wickets eventually fall if you bowl short for 4 hours is
not exciting. No. Commentating those 2 sessions when we were bowling short. No.
Well, Grubby didn't have to commentate it, did he?
Exactly.
The Mitchell Marsh innings was superb. I mean, coming after Stokes' incredible knock at Lords, that was incredible in its own way too. The cleanness of hitting of the ball. I've seen that before. He's done that at the Perth Stadium from time to time. He's pretty hit and miss, Mitchell Marsh. He'll do 4 innings where he does bugger all, and then suddenly he gets hold of it.
He does that in white ball cricket as well.
Yeah.
But you could see England didn't want to play the short ball tactic to him because they thought he's just going to put us in the stands.
And he did. Him hitting Wood bowling at 92 miles an hour into was it the Western Terrace? I don't know which side is which.
Whichever one,
for 6, and it wouldn't have gone more than 15 feet above the ground at any stage. Was just an extraordinary shot.
Like a gun shot, yeah.
Yeah, and a couple of his drives were just immaculate. The outfield was incredibly fast today. So if you got through the field, you almost certainly got 4. But yeah, that was wonderful to watch. And Wokes, I agree, bowled beautifully today, and it was really good to see him come back in probably both for Wood and Wokes and Marsh. This was the pitch for them to come in and make the best of their talents. I don't think there's
Yeah,
any
and
doubt
Wood would
about
be
that.
happy that he played today and rather than at Lords. And probably Wokes the
Absolutely.
same, his record at Lords notwithstanding.
Absolutely.
Maybe
So
we'll just hope that one of Root, Bairstow, or Stokes gets in tomorrow
yeah,
and plays that kind of innings, and maybe puts them in the league. I think they should at least reach parity, but they'd give a lot for a 100-run lead.
they certainly would. I mean, yeah, it's just beautifully set up. I think it's worth mentioning too that, notwithstanding the chance that we would have expected from the crowd towards Australia, which is all part of the game anyhow, the sense was that the spirit on the field was no different from normal. Obviously competitive, but there's no nastiness apparent. And I noticed at the very end that both Root and Bairstow, who were not out, took the time to go up to Mitch Marsh just to shake his hand for what he'd done. And I thought that indicated that there's clearly some goodwill still between the teams.
Well, I think so. I was thinking about this morning. I went to a Motorhead gig once. # things you hear on Guerilla Cricket. And there was a bit of a crush at the front, as can happen. It was a standing gig. And Lemmy said, I want everybody to take one step back. And I thought that these teams could actually do with taking one step back in this series. And I think they did that perfectly today. Yep. It was super competitive. It was hard cricket, but there wasn't any nonsense. And that's the level that I want to see it. I think at Lords, it was all dialed up to 11 and it was a bit much. I'm happy with the way it was played today.
Indeed. Our tweeter of the day is actually Mog, who tweeted very early on when there was some suspicion that there may be a flood of tweets about what had happened at Lords and everybody had had enough. He just said, there are undiscovered tribes deep in the Amazon who are well and truly sick of hearing about the last fucking test. And yes, I thought that just
with their own opinions on it, yeah.
And I thought that was spot on. So Mog, you're definitely our tweeter of the day. I haven't even thought about the Guerilla of the day. I don't know if anything's struck you in relation to...
I think not Fred for coming in at 4 o'clock and suddenly taking a rash of wickets.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
A bit like the bowler, you say, where's he been today?
Okay, Fred, you can get to be the Guerilla of the day. Brilliant. Thank you for that. Okay, well, we'll be with you again tomorrow. Thank you very much for being with us. We are brought to you in conjunction with Ponting's Wines, and if you would like to take advantage of the 15% discount on all Ponting wines, please click on the link below. And if you like this, please click like, subscribe. And if you have got anything to say that you'd like us to consider,
come and say it to us.
Yep, either below,
not in a threatening way.
or tweet us at Guerilla Cricket, and we'll be happy to hear what you have to say. So thank you for that, and we'll catch up with you again tomorrow. Good night.
See you soon.
And now it's time for